Door in it.
Yes, people, and welcome back to Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are watching or listening on any sort of audio platforms, make sure to download the episodes. Now, a couple hours ago, we had UFC 316 between Sean O'Malley and Merab. And what a performance by Merab. Before we dive into it, some of the discussions we were having were like, okay, so what does this do? Where's Merab at, like, in terms of being the best bantamweight ever? And this was prior to last night. But to then go and finish Sean O'Malley the way that he did, man, he has to be, he has to be the best 135er we've ever seen in the octagon.
For me, he is. For me, you had Aljo, who was the best ever for me. Aljo has more defenses than him. I think Aljo has 3. So, in terms of defenses, Aljo's still ahead of him. But in terms of resume, Merab's resume is untouched, and he made easy work. He's getting even better and even better. We always talk about that 20% better when you become a champion. I don't see anybody stopping him. They brought in Corey at the end of that fight. Corey himself, I think. What can Corey do that O'Malley can't do?
Okay, so
I think
Corey
they're very
said,
similar.
Yeah. Well, Corey said that realistically he has to knock Merab out. Because the thing is, yeah, one thing, so if we go into the actual technicalities of the fight yesterday, yeah, you look at it as Sean O'Malley, right, if it goes a decision, his chances they're lessened. They have to be, because Merab is a master at doing enough to win rounds with his pressure, with his takedowns, even if you stuff the takedowns, which Sean O'Malley was doing.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. O'Malley looked good in that first round. The second round, he looked all right.
He was stuffing them.
Merab would just nick the rounds because of his pressure and the takedowns right at the end. And listen, Merab...
But also, the key
he's
was...
high IQ fighter, Merab.
The key is that Sean O'Malley, to go get the knockout, he has to sit on his shots a little bit. What was he doing? He was moving around the octagon because he had to.
You have to, because Merab's pressure...
Exactly.
He's probably been working on his footwork all camp, avoiding Merab's pressure, preventing Merab from backing.
But then he can't sit down on his shots.
Yeah, but you can't, because if the moment you let Merab... The moment you stand too straight, Merab will just back
he'll
you
take
up,
you down,
push you against the cage, and he will take you down. So I sort of understood the game plan, but yeah, I mean, listen. The finish surprised me though.
No, exactly.
I thought Merab would win, but not
exactly. But I can't say Sean O'Malley did that wrong, because his takedown defense looked improved, because mainly as well he did have a torn hip in the first fight, which obviously it's going to hinder you. So his takedown defense looked better. But it wasn't enough to be like, for example, Corey Sandhagen against Umar, right? His takedown defense was to the point where it was mainly a standing up fight. This Merab still had instances where he was controlling him on the ground. And it took I think it was round 2. It took best part of 2-3 minutes out of a 5-minute round for Sean O'Malley to get back to his feet. Control time, you're going to lose that round. So then you're almost chasing a finish immediately. You know what I'm saying? And then regarding the actual finish, now this is where if Merab adds some of that killer instinct to his game, we are talking about, I mean,
you saw that killer instinct.
Yeah, we saw it, but we saw it for the first time.
More of that, and yeah.
We saw it for the first time.
For me, he's already that guy though.
I know. But this is what I'm saying. We saw it for the first time properly on display, because the last time he finished someone, I believe, was Marlon Moraes. He got hurt in that fight. Moraes gassed out. He didn't want to be in there anymore, and he TKO'd him. But for him to snatch up that choke, to think, we haven't seen that. He's dominated people, ground and pound, done enough to win rounds and win convincing decisions. But he was like, wait, Sean O'Malley's giving me his neck here. I'm going to choke him out. The fact that that switch was there, the fact that his mind went to that place where, and he said it beforehand. He said that, I want to finish this guy. I want to make even more of a statement. And I was the first to say, listen, I was reading a bit into it where I'm thinking, Merab's fighting a lot. You know, he fought Sean O'Malley the first time in September. Then he defended against Umar, which was a grueling fight. Yeah, really, it was a crazy fight. And then he turns around and we're barely end of May, beginning of June. Now he's defended his belt, and I was like, oh, do you know what, Sean O'Malley? Like he said, he's repaired the hip. Will his game plan be good? But Merab's just that good, and stylistically, Sean O'Malley against Merab, it's just not a good.
It was always a bad matchup.
It's just a bad matchup.
It's a classic striker versus wrestler, but Merab, what he brings to the table is a different level of pressure. His pressure, his grit, his determination, his chin, and he's just a monster. And you know, Corey's next, but I think he beats Corey. And when he beats Corey, in my opinion, who is there for him to fight? He's running out of opponents at this stage. So it's almost like he's cleaning up the division. He pretty much cleaned the division up when he was the number one contender.
Yeah, that is true.
When Aljo was the champion, he refused to fight Aljo, who was his teammate. You know, but now that Aljo's gone up, he's pretty much beating everybody. So he's gonna have a bunch of rematches that he has to do, because that's how it's gonna get to a point where he's gonna have to rematch guys that he smoked in the past. I mean, this fight itself was a rematch. He's already beaten O'Malley. In my opinion, he's gonna beat Sanhagen. I think Umar, a couple wins, maybe 1 or 2 wins, is gonna be back to Umar.
No, I think Umar just needs one. I think Umar just needs one win.
Yeah, you got
because even in a post-fight press conference, Dana White mentioned this the Umar one, like, because Umar did give Merab a serious fight.
Yeah, it was one of Merab's toughest fights, to be fair.
But then you look at Peter Yan, he's still in the top 5, and last time they fought, that was an absolute domination. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Peter Yan was going through a little bit of a tough time, skid, so you can attribute to that. He's shown that he's back to a good level. But yeah, no, regarding Merab, it's like, and it's weird because I don't know if there's no real interest of him, you know, because we've had all you're champion, you defend it a couple times, let me go get that second belt.
He pretty much beat all the top contenders when Aljo was champion, because he refused to fight Aljo. So he essentially was defending his belt when he was the number one contender, because the guys he was beating were top guys. So that's why there's no interest in him to keep on defending it. And he can't go up in weight because you've got Aljo there. So he's stuck at 135.
No, he can go up.
No, but I think he won't go up because
he said
that's Aljo's division.
No. So he said, so obviously Topuria was the champion. He wouldn't have fought Topuria because they're both Georgians.
Aljo, I mean, him and Aljo's in his corner yesterday.
I know, but
he's not gonna fight Aljo, and that's Aljo's
division. But Aljo's not champ. Yeah. I'm saying he would go up. Yeah, but point being, he wouldn't fight Volkanovski.
Yeah. I think that's just him
being nice.
Yeah, but Aljo's really his brother. Like, they trained together. They came up together in when they were training under Longo and Cerro. So I don't see him going up to 145.
Yeah, but do you think Aljo will ever become 145 champ?
And I hear that, but he's gonna basically give Aljo a clear path, if that makes sense. Because if Merab comes up, beats all the contenders, Aljo's gonna be left in a weird position. Does he go up to 155? I don't think Aljo becomes a champion at 145. He has a better chance now that Toporia's gone. Maybe, but
you know who could be? Do you know who people are saying should go
up? Yeah. I mean, he has to.
You think so?
He's lost twice to the same guy. Merab's not losing anytime soon. You know, historically, when a guy loses twice to the same guy, and that guy happens to be a champion, you know, you should really go up or go down if you can cut the weight as well, because there's no way.
He needs to hope that
there's no way Merab's losing the belt, and there's no way.
You don't think so?
Nah, no way. Merab's
against anyone.
Possibly Umar, if Umar comes in with a better game plan. But other than Umar, who else is there? I mean, they were bigging up Patchy Mix. But we all saw him last night.
We'll get into that,
you know what I mean? So there's really nobody at 135.
Do you know stylistically? I know this is a bit of a mad one, yeah. But you know stylistically, yeah. I think Song Yadong gives him a serious scrap. You know.
Song Yadong.
Song Yadong.
I've always said Song Yadong is a little dark horse, but he's just gonna take him down. Do you know what I mean? That's all it comes down to with Merab. He's just gonna take you down, and then what you gonna do? He's gonna keep coming, keep coming, and he's got a crazy chin. You can rock him. He's just gonna keep walking you down. He's built different.
He is built different. He's built different. And do you know what?
He's like a middleweight. It's like a 5'5" middleweight that fights at bantamweight. That's how he fights. Like, he just manhandles you. Like, he doesn't fight. He's not lying. But
you know, like I said regarding the finishing. That it's almost reminding me a little bit of like that turn that Khabib had. Obviously, this is his first proper finish that I have in my books where I'm like, okay, in a title fight, you're finishing someone. But like once Khabib turned that corner and then he went on that streak of just
finishing people. It
bro.
reminded me of the Dustin fight.
The Dustin fight.
So we just submitted him.
Gaethje, the Gaethje fight. You know what I'm saying? That when a champion starts turning the corner and isn't winning by decision anymore and is just smoking people, bro, then it starts being like who is this guy? But yeah, no, looking at their age, Sean O'Malley's 30. But yeah, you know, I know. So he's not even hit his prime yet. But you're saying go up to 145. His main asset, right, is that he's got that one-shot power knockout, right? He ain't knocking no one dead at 145.
I just think he's lost to Merab twice. He's got the frame to go up to 145. He may not be the biggest, but he's got the length. He's what, 5'11", 6 foot. He's already too tall.
I think if he loses another one against someone in the top 5, then I would.
I think if he has any ambition to become a champion again, you go up to 145.
Look at Peter.
And it's not me saying it's easier for him to become a champion at 145. He has a better chance because he's not lost at 145. 2 losses to the same guy in the same weight class who happens to be champion. You're in trouble.
Look at Peter Yan though, when he lost twice to Aljamain Sterling. I know the
but
first
Aljo
one
went up though. So
yeah, well, he needs to hope that Merab loses.
Not going up.
No, but he needs to hope that Merab loses.
To who? Sanhagen. Bro, he's not losing to Sanhagen, bro.
But you're saying that's a non-factor.
Bro, he's not losing to Sanhagen. It's not possible, bro.
Not possible is crazy.
He's a better striker, but Sanhagen's not going to be able to stop the takedown, bro. This guy took down...
Did you think he wasn't going to be able to stop the takedown of Umar?
Well, Sanhagen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got good scrambles, but he still lost that Umar fight, though.
Yeah, because he wasn't throwing hands. Who's the better striker between Umar and Merab?
Okay, but same situation here. Sanhagen is going to be overwhelmed by the wrestling. He's going to become gun shy. You spoke about.
Who do you think's a better game planner between? Who do you think's got the better fight IQ between Sean O'Malley and Sanhagen? I think if there's any bantamweight that can, I'll be honest.
Look, people are kind of fooled by Sanhagen because he's very well spoken, so they think being well spoken is the same as having a good game plan. I think Sanhagen. How many times have we seen Sanhagen sort of? His performance against Umar, okay, good scrambles, but on the feet, which is his bread and butter, he didn't look good.
But Umar's a great striker, though.
No, but he didn't look good, though. But he's the better striker.
But what did I say? We've had this.
That game plan, was it a good game plan to be gun shy on the feet? And
no.
Stuff takedowns, but on the feet, it's like you stuff the takedowns. Now what do you do?
No, he has to lessen that. He has to take a step back between that. And still, but also Umar capitalized on that and was landing in the striking exchanges. Umar striking and Merab striking is not even in the same stratosphere.
Merab striking's improved.
Oh, it has improved. So no, I agree.
It's not the same Merab that fought Umar. He was landing on O'Malley, and O'Malley is one of the best strikers in the UFC.
Yeah, but O'Malley was just
1-2. He was landing 1-2.
Yeah, but O'Malley was worrying. He was worrying about that takedown.
Yeah, I understand that as well, but he's the best wrestler at bantamweight. He's the best wrestler at bantamweight.
I still agree. I think Merab. You'd be crazy to bet against Merab against Corey, but styles make fights, and I think
who the person that
because you're saying it's a non-factor.
No, I just think after what I saw last night, Merab's just gonna get even better. Sanhagen, we've seen him fight top guys and sort of fall short. He fought Umar, fell short. He fought Pena. You know what I mean? We've seen him before. He fought Aljo back when Aljo was on the rise. He lost. So we've seen Sanhagen. We've seen Sanhagen in that position before and fall short. Merab is a lot better than he is now. Before every fight, it's that 15%, 20% he gets better. That championship percentage that we always talk about. Merab is a different beast, a different animal, and I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
But yeah, I don't think Sean O'Malley should go up. I think he should fight someone in the top 5. Should take some time. Either you take some time or you get back on.
Let's say he fights someone in the top 5, yeah, and he wins, devastating fashion, knocks him out cold. Does he deserve a title shot? No. He's lost twice to the champion. He lost in devastating fashion just now. So, I mean, even if he wins, what's the point? You might as well get a win at 145 where you could become a contender for the belt. He's not going to be a contender. Bro, it's going to take him maybe 5 or 6 wins to fight for the belt.
What?
Do
you know who Sean O'Malley is?
Bro,
on my life.
You can't lose twice to the same guy and call for a title shot. It's tough.
If he knocks out 2 guys in the top 5, he's got a title shot.
I'll give you an example, yeah? Holloway lost, 3 times, but twice. But you know, before the 3rd fight, how many fights did he have to win to get that title shot? I'm pretty sure it was a decent amount of fights. When he lost twice to Volkanovski, to get the 3rd fight, he had to win a couple. I remember he had to win
three
or four, bro. So I mean, 3 or 4 fights, you're not gonna be able to fight 3 or 4 times in a year. That's a couple years, bro. We're thinking he's going to get a title shot when he's 32, 33. Do you know what I mean?
Merab won't be champion when he's 32, 33.
And how old's Merab now? 34.
4.
Exactly. Merab might even retire. What is left for him to prove?
I don't know. I disagree.
You spoke about his career might be cooked.
Who?
O'Malley. You said.
Oh yeah.
So his career might be on the line. So
I think when I said that, I was talking about the trajectory that
he has
people.
to win,
No, but like people might have envisioned for him, right? Because he had all these like Conor McGregor comparisons and all of that, and he knocked out Aljamain Sterling, who was arguably the best 135er we'd ever seen resume-wise, and he knocked him out in devastating fashion. And then he had the Chito Vera one where he looked unbeatable. So it was going like this. It went like that because of the first loss. And then to get finished, it's like this. So now we're at crossroads for him. We're like you said, does he go up? Does he not? You know, who does he fight in the top 5? Do they give him another wrestler? Because God knows, I don't think he wants to see a wrestler. So then you got who will strike with him. To be honest, if he fought Umar would wrestle him. Not all the time, not like Merab.
There's more wrestlers at bantamweight than featherweight, you know, at the top. At featherweight, you look at all the top guys. Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, Lopez.
Evloev's
a wrestler. But bar Evloev and Aljo.
Like, even Lopez won't go for a takedown.
And he's already beaten Aljo. So that's another thing. That's another scalp. He can go up to 145. I've already beaten that guy. And Aljo's one of the contenders there as well. So I think there's just a better mix for him in terms of stylistic matchups at 145. And he's lost to the champion at 135 twice. So for me, he's a no-brainer. And he's got the size and the frame already.
You don't think he'll get chinned?
I've never really seen him get chinned, though. Have you seen O'Malley get chinned? I know it's a heavier weight class, but 135.
Peter Yan landed some smacks and he ate them.
He ate them, to be honest. I mean, Chito Vera, when he landed the ground and pound, but that was after his leg went. So we've never really. I mean, O'Malley's got an underrated chin as well. Don't sleep on his chin. You know, he's the one that does the chinning. Do you know what I mean?
Usually,
so he can go up to 145. I think it will be a good move for him. I think it's a good move.
Let's see, but we can dive into the co-main event, and I mean, you're looking at the odds, and it was like Pena shouldn't have even been in the octagon.
As expected, you know, Kayla with that judo gold medalist. I expected it. And
her toughest fight is on the scale.
Yeah, exactly, because she was a 155er, bro. She's massive. I don't know how she makes.
Bro, her arms is like.
Yeah, bro, she's
jacked. Bro.
She's insanely jacked. And for me, look, there's only been 2 fights for her ever. The Cyborg fight and the Nunes fight. And it looks like she's going to get the Nunes fight next. And these are the only 2 fights for me that make sense. Nothing else makes sense.
Is it mad for me to think that I think...
Yeah, I think Kayla wins.
Kayla wins, yeah.
And the reason is not because we're here disrespecting Nunes. Nunes is the GOAT. But she's been out of the cage for how many years now? We don't know how she's going to be looking. We don't know if she's been training. We don't know if this is the same Nunes in the cage as the one that fought in her last fight, which was a couple years ago. So you have to.
And it was against Pena.
You have to factor that as well.
Was it against Pena? No, Aldana.
Yeah, I can't remember who she fought actually. Yeah. But listen, we don't know if it's going to be the same Nunes. She's been out of the cage. Kayla's on form right now. Kayla's the bigger woman as well. So
that was a nasty Kimura, by the way.
Exactly.
With 10 seconds to go. You know, like,
but
I know Pena was like, she knew how long was left. And she was worrying about, because I think she was trying to set up her arm triangle and whatnot. And then she just left her arm there and it was like, boom, switched. And the torque.
Yeah. No,
she's going to lose her arm, bro.
No. You know, with her submissions, the mats is with her bread and butter, and
The
she
judo throws
she
were
did what she
there.
had to do.
Her
But-
striking doesn't even look bad though.
Yeah, but against Nunes, she can't try and strike like that. I'll be honest with you. If we see the same Nunes, if Nunes is the same and she's been training, I can't lie, Kayla might be in trouble. We're saying Kayla is the favourite on form, but if it's the same Nunes, prime Nunes against the prime Kayla, Kayla might be in trouble because Nunes,
Where do you rank
Nunes
this?
can crack.
Where do you rank this fight in terms of the most hyped women's fights we've ever had?
For me, the number one will always be Nunes versus Cyborg. The
See,
hype-
see,
the
Dana
hype
White-
behind that fight.
See, Dana White argued that in the post-fight press conference because obviously the
Nunes
sport's way
Cyborg.
bigger. The
He
sport's
said
way
what's-
bigger. That
What did he say? Kayla Harrison and Nunes.
it's a bigger fight.
I think he has a bit of an agenda against Cyborg, innit? Him and Cyborg don't get along, I don't think.
Mm.
And Dana's petty. You know what I mean? So he will say that. But Nunes Cyborg, come on, the hype before that fight was mental.
And the way it ended.
Yeah, I even think Holly Holm,
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey was a big one as well. For me, that was a massive one. You
That
know?
Zhang Wei Li.
Possibly even Ronda versus Nunes, you know?
Mm.
Possibly. It was Ronda's first fight back after getting flattened.
Yeah. That
So you
Zhang
could
Wei
say
Li Joanna rematch after the first fight because of how much that
Even
first.
Joanna Rose too. There's
Mm.
been a lot of big fights in the women's game, so
And the potential Shevchenko against Zhang Wei Li.
yeah.
That's another huge
There's-
fight.
there's
But
been many.
yeah, Kayla Harrison, she's now and her credentials: 2-time Olympic champion, UFC champion.
PFL champion.
Hey, that is a crazy CV.
If she beats Nunes, there's an argument for her to be. One of
I
the
don't know.
greatest- No, not the
Oh,
goal.
what one of it? Yeah,
Not
no,
the
100%.
goal, But you know what they say about Cejudo, the greatest
combat athlete.
Combat athlete. She
Right.
is that equivalent. in the
She
women's
argues that she's got a better CV than him, and that was like, do you remember that video where it was like Ali Abdelaziz and like Cejudo and
game.
Khabib,
It was
and they
all-
were
it was all the
arguing.
dominance MMA fight
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
and they were all arguing, and now she's added the UFC belt. Can't really chat up on her resume. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
You can't. But yeah.
I'm looking. I think Nunes said towards the end of the year. So I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. I would probably edge Kayla.
Probably be a Vegas, innit? Vegas December card.
Something like that, but she even said November they could slap her on MSG. Yeah.
Co-main to Jones Aspinall, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll talk about that though, because there's even stuff to talk about that.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we can dive into. Okay, now we need to study Kelvin Gastelum's chin because we've argued about who's the pound for pound like hardest hitter, and you've mentioned Josh Emmett, who's got a strong, case for it. I said Joe Pyfer.
couldn't
bro,
crack. You
bro.
can just see as soon as he just lands the 1-2, that right, it didn't even land on his chin. It would land on the side of his head. One landed above his ear. One landed on his jaw. Every time it just drops him. He
Bro.
has crazy power, bro.
And even the head kick,
Yeah.
he landed shin to chin, and Kelvin didn't even budge, bro. But yeah, now Pyfer after the first round looked really good, and then I don't know. You almost feel like a guy like him to make a statement because looking at his career, he was kind of fast tracked as well. I remember he had the Apex main event against Jack Hermanson, and that was a step back for him in his career because it was like, damn, if he beats Jack Hermanson solid, maybe 1 or 2 fights, and we're talking about a title scrap, and he made some mistakes in that fight. He kind of, when it hit the 3rd and 4th and 5th, he didn't look great, and then, he's got problems with injuries though. He doesn't fight regularly at all. This fight was scheduled for Mexico.
Yeah, but that wasn't an injury, though, was it? That was
Food poisoning or
food
something.
poisoning, yeah.
But just in general, like he's coming off back surgery, hand surgery, whatever surgery. So he doesn't fight really regularly. So for him to climb the ranks, because they were both unranked, Kelvin and Joe Pyfer are unranked. I don't know if Pyfer will still be unranked come matchmaking. But
How many losses in a row is that for Kelvin now? He didn't win his last fight.
that's a good question.
Kelvin might get cut, Kelvin might actually be in trouble. Because was he not meant to fight at 170 in his last fight and he couldn't make weight? And he said, I'm going to stay at 185 now. And Dana gave him the hardest hit as a punishment. And now that he's lost,
As a punishment.
yeah, that was 100% a punishment. They want him to get flattened.
No, he beat Daniel Rodriguez
But that was a catchweight, wasn't it?
It was a catchweight.
Because
Yeah.
I remember his last fight was at 170. He couldn't make weight, but then his career.
Damn, there's a lot of losses on
Yeah,
there.
so he hasn't won 2 in a row in what, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean.
Because he beat Chris Curtis by decision and then he lost
Yeah.
to Brady by
But
Kimura.
then that Rodriguez fight was like, from, I remember I spoke about it. It was almost illegal.
Because the
he
amount of
missed-
weight that he
yeah,
missed.
he basically stopped cutting weight. Rodriguez was continuing. to
Yeah,
cut weight.
yeah. I remember that.
So then they forced Kelvin, his next fight, to go up to 185.
Mm.
So that was a disgrace of a fight. That should have been disqualification for me.
He might get cut.
I think he's.
But
getting-
then,
I think he's
but then you look at Gastelum's age.
how old is he? He's still young. This guy's been around since.
He's
forever.
33, bro.
He's been around since forever as well. Yeah, it's crazy how young he is. Yeah,
But he was in title fights. He was in he was in serious scraps at like 27,
That's
28.
a Hall of Fame fight.
Yeah.
But
But even knocking out
he's
Bisping at like 20.
he's not a middleweight. He just doesn't know how to diet, and he's not a middleweight, bro. He's got, what is he, 5'8", with a short reach.
Bro, do you know what? It's
Doesn't
mad.
make
It's mad
sense.
you're saying that because I was just like, I was watching a fight and I was like, if I'm, like, I was just trying to think, if I was Kelvin Gastelum and I was looking at Joe Pyfer just right in
Was
front
he
of me,
6'4"?
bro, Joe Pyfer, and the difference in power, bro.
Mm.
Like, those smacks, you don't really see Kelvin, like, drop, like, boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the difference in power, but he doesn't want to make 170,
No, I don't think he can. I don't think he can. Physically, he can't.
but he's got fat on him.
Yeah,
He
no,
could.
Some people, the weight doesn't come off. It's like DC. You look at DC, another 5'8", 5'9" guy,
Mm.
fighting at light heavyweight, ended his career at heavyweight. Some guys,
Mad.
he just can't get the weight off.
Mm.
It's just-
Another guy who was on this card who goes from 185 to 170 to 170 to 185 is Kevin Holland.
What performance.
And great performance, bro.
Luke K is a bit of a weird one because there's moments where you watch him, you think, yeah, he's past it. Then he wins a fight, you think he's back. I think we can all say Luke K is he's past it. I think now confirms he's past it. Not a hit on Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland did what he had to do.
But he hit the DOS on the DOS master, bro. Do you know how many times Luke K's got a DOS?
Yeah, no. Kevin Holland, firstly, he's got very underrated jiu-jitsu. Very underrated.
But it's just
It's
like
just he's
you can't
you can't lose to Kevin Holland and sort of be taken seriously. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, like Luke, if he has any aspirations to become a champion, that's down the window.
Do you know
That's
what's
down the
mad?
drain.
Luke K's not even like Luke K's like 32, 33
Yeah, but
But
you
he's
spoke about
taken-
that brain bleed he had, and he's
against
not,
Jeff Neal.
yeah, that sort of. But before that, he looked like a contender.
But then he lost to
Do
Buckley.
you
But
remember,
then
do you remember when he beat Woodley?
in the
Do you
Apex,
remember that
yeah.
performance?
Smoked him, bro.
I thought this is the guy, but then the sport.
Bro,
don't
he's
work
had
out like
some wars, bro. He's knocked out Bilal Muhammad, bro.
that. Yeah,
Back in the
exactly,
day. But
Bilal's rumored to fight Ian Gary.
I think
apparently it's all wrapped up. Ian Gary Bilal, main event apparently. Fight night.
that's a fight night.
Yeah. Apparently it was a main. Apparently it's a main event. But if it's a main
I thought
event,
they said that.
apparently if it's a
I
main
thought
event,
Bilal tweeted at him and said
well, Komen.
MSG.
I just read main event. So if it's a main event, it has to be a fight night because they're not going to do a main event.
Or they could make it
No.
a 5-round fight. No,
Yeah, but
they do that
if it's a
sometimes.
main event though, it has to be for a belt.
No, but I'm saying even if they put it on a pay-per-view card for
Yeah.
no belt.
Because it is technically the number one contender fight. So,
Mm.
so
I
yeah,
think that's a
that'd be-
great fight for Gary.
Yeah.
Pretty much
big-
confirms a title shot if he wins.
If he beats him, that's.
But then
that'd
who
be-
does Sean Brady fight?
Sean Brady? I mean, fights Madalena, innit?
So what does Islam do, bro? Bro, come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, Makachev's around as well.
Bro, Islam's getting a shot. So then what? Sean Brady.
Sean Brady wanted the Gary fight though, so I mean, if they're gonna
Mm.
give it to Bilal, yeah, it's a tough one. What does Sean Brady do? Who
Does he do?
fight?
Does he do it? You know we are knocking Imavov, yeah. Imavov's the backup.
Oh, hold out.
Yeah, well, Imavov's the backup.
Yeah, I was about to just say that.
So that
Weigh
that
in-
basically confirms that
Weigh
he's
in,
gonna
yeah,
be
so
next.
weigh in as the backup fighter, and fight the winner.
Imavov, yeah. So Imavov being the backup fighter for the Chimaev DDP one, basically confirms that once that
He's
fight's done,
next,
he's
yeah.
next.
DDP came out and said if Chimaev pulls out,
He said if
I'm
he
not
pulls out
fighting
like 6,
Imavov.
7 weeks before, he's not taking it. But if it's like 2 weeks and he's already there, he'll take it. But yeah, you know what? Let's talk about. And do you remember when you went on that rant about Michael Chandler?
Yeah, bro. Look,
And
it's
now
legit. Come on,
I
like,
went on a little bit of a rant about Pitbull. And last night, bro, I'm sorry, Patchy Mix
read it all the time.
stuck in the mud.
Yeah, but we read it all the time. Bellator, PFL, One Championship, Ryzen. None of those organizations have the crop of talent that the UFC has. None of them. We see all the time comparing champions or this roster can compete with the UFC. None of them can compete. None of them can compete. All right, you could say Pitbull was past it. You're going to say Patchy Mix has passed it. He
was on a crazy run.
He's not past it. And I remember when he was at Bellator, he was talking about I can beat all the... He was talking about how I can beat all the...
But even at the press conference, he was like, I'm looking through Bautista. And do you know what?
Bautista's very underrated, you know.
Exactly. So before we got into Patchy Mix, let's give Bautista his
Give him his
flowers.
credit, yeah.
Because sometimes fighters, right, they have a really stinky performance like he did against Aldo, where he didn't even want to strike. And I'm still baffled by that because he fully acted like he had... I mean, this is an old Aldo, right? Aldo still had hands, but it's like, throw hands as well. He didn't even want to throw hands that fight. So his stock went like this, right? But yesterday, man, Patchy Mix was making Bautista look like Canelo. I'm not even playing.
Bro, he didn't look like
Smoked
elite.
him.
He didn't look elite at all, Patchy Mix.
Stuck
And you're
in him.
thinking, where does his next win come from? Because that weight class is no joke. Where does Patchy Mix get a win in that top 10, top 15? Where does he get a win?
He might not get a win.
This is Chandler. At least Chandler came in and beat someone in his first fight.
Knocked out Dan Hooker, bro.
And Dan Hooker has always been top 10, top 15. So this is not a good look at all for Patchy Mix.
And he looked bad,
And the
bro.
way he was talking, and the way he used to talk when he was at Bellator as well, he used to talk crazy, you know. They're all crap, they're all this, they're all that.
But he was like, you know, in a press conference to be like, I'm looking right through him. Like, this is light work. And to then...
Sometimes under the lights, when you see the UFC logo,
you put
oh
stock
my
in
God.
that?
Yeah, bro, because...
But if you're top tier...
This was his worst performance. This is probably his worst performance in his professional career.
I know, but if you're
Horrible
top tier...
Has he had a loss before this fight?
Yeah, he's lost before.
His losses, I reckon this is his worst loss. His losses before.
But if
weren't
you're
as bad
top
as
tier,
this.
if you're a top tier scrapper, I don't want to hear nothing about the UFC lights. Because if someone like Michael Chandler can come in and just knock out Dan Hooker, bro, and send him flying with a left hook, who, you know what I'm saying, he basically lived off that knockout for a while.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to hear nothing. I think, I'll tell you the 3 people that I'd love to see in the UFC who I think would actually make noise. 2 more than others. Paul Hughes, we need him in the UFC. I think he is top tier, top level. Usman Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, you can already see Usman's on his way because Islam's gone up to 170.
Yeah.
He's cleared the path for Usman to come in.
Yeah.
And I reckon Usman goes straight into a title shot.
Yeah, and the next one,
He's in it.
straight into a title shot.
Yeah. Give him straight into a title shot or a number 1 contender. He's that good. Him and Hughes. Him and Hughes.
No
are
one
elite.
from a different organization's gone. Actually, Asakura.
Yeah.
But that's flyweight. There's no.
Even Yuri, to be fair, Yuri was a good. I can't lie, Yuri's a good example of a top guy that's come in to the UFC from. He came from Ryzen, didn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't.
He didn't go straight into a title shot, but he was a good fighter to bring in. But other than that,
I mean, Chandler
when
got.
the UFC
Chandler
has gone
got.
elsewhere, it's not been good.
People forget. Chandler got a title shot off that Hooker win. And then Oliveira had to knock him out. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Now we got Aaron Pico, who's signed, and they're saying he might fight Evloev.
That's not good.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's not good for him. He's a talented fighter, but to give him Evloev, he's going to be pissed off. How are they giving me this guy's making his debut?
Oh, that's another thing. Volk v Yair is not a scrap I want to see again.
No, it's not. But bro, Yair versus Lopez is the fight.
It's got some juice to it, yeah.
And
But that's not happening anymore.
Yeah,
though.
but they were getting at each other in the press conference in Spanish. Make it a Spanish. Go back to Madrid or something, or do a fight in a Spanish country, or Spanish-speaking country, and that's your main event. Or even UFC Brazil or something. I don't know why would they do that though? I mean,
Yair didn't even look that nice against Pitbull.
No.
It's not like he's spinning back kicks.
Evloev's getting
Violated.
Boy, he's getting violated big time.
Big time. He's not even that boring.
I don't know why they're not giving it to Evloev though. Why?
Evloev against Sterling
You
was
could
a
even
cracker.
argue there was arguments that Evloev should have got it over Lopez. That was the arguments, yeah. So all right, you give it Lopez. Okay, Evloev had to firm it.
Volk even said I want Evloev.
Yeah, so
Then
you have to firm it.
it's Dana White and
Why is
Hunter
he giving
Camp.
him a guy that he's already beaten? And he beat him convincingly. Yeah, before. Volk smoked Vieira in that first fight.
And the people are forgetting, Yaya got beat by Brian Ortega in 2024, bro.
Yeah.
Submitted. One win.
Yeah, this is
One win. Yaya's not got juice like that.
I think Evloev has annoyed them in negotiations, something like that. Where
Yeah, but what?
he's
You
probably
think
asking for more money than he should, or his management
I don't think
team,
Evloev's
or
the
his
type,
management
though.
team are being difficult, because we've seen this in the past where you've got a clear contender and they don't give him the shot. That is definitely an issue with negotiations, because
He need, to be fair to Evloev, he needs to start finishing fights, though.
yeah, I understand he's had a lot of fights where it's been close and he's got the nod, but I think against Pico he's gonna go in with a vengeance. He's gonna go in.
If he
annoyed
finishes
and
Pico-
he's gonna go in annoyed and pissed off, because he's gonna say, "How the hell I should be in that title fight? How are you giving me a guy making his debut, a young kid coming to the UFC, and I'm his debut fight? I'm
Man.
gonna show you guys." I think he's gonna put a beating on Pico.
He might. And then Bellator's stock is even
Yeah.
worsened. But yeah, man, he's getting violated. And then I don't know, the 145. You got someone like Gene Silva who, you know what? I won't be surprised. I don't know
Gene
where.
Silva versus O'Malley. Imagine that.
What, O'Malley going up
O'Malley
against
goes
Gene?
up, Gene Silva. Gene Silva's waiting for him.
You know Gene
O'Malley
Silva.
comes out. You know Gene Silva's waiting for him.
You know Gene Silva might knock out O'Malley into next week.
Bro, but what if O'Malley fights long, rangy, gives him at the end of the jab? O'Malley's not my man, bro.
You try to put stock in Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah,
bro.
he's not Bryce Mitchell. Striking wise, isn't it? I just thought Bryce experienced in it, but yeah, Bryce.
No, but Gene Silva might. I think he said he's got a fight. They haven't announced it, but he could.
They should have done Gene Silva versus Pico. That would have been a, that would have been a striker. No, I'd rather that. Let Evloev get a shot.
Should have done No, they or Evloev, if he's not fighting Pico, he's fighting Gene Silva, because God knows if he smacks up Gene Silva, he'll get a title shot.
Of course.
Because Silva's got juice. Silva's got juice right now, bro. He's got clout. So that 145-pound division, I don't know, man. It's Volk being the champion again. It's like, I'm happy for him, but I would have liked to see Lopez champ, bro, and just like get active on him. Because Yaya against Volk is just like, don't get it twisted. It's possible that it's a good fight.
That's just poor matchmaking.
Yeah.
You just say it how it is.
Yeah.
It's poor matchmaking. That's all it is. That's the wrong fight to make. And the UFC and some guys, they make mistakes. And that's it. You've got to just put your hands up. You know, Dana, Hunter, and the other guys who are
Sean Shelby.
Yeah, Sean Shelby. They need to put their hands up and say we made a mistake, because that's a big mistake. You've got Evloev, who's a clear contender. So I don't know what that was all about.
We'll skim through the rest of the card a little bit before we go into like the whole John Jones thing again. Joshua Van, did you watch that fight? The Joshua Van against Bruno Silva, the last prelim fight. Joshua Van, by the way, he's 23. He's got hands, bro. And at 125, he could be a real player by mid next year. This time next
and they
year.
need it as well. That weight class, they need a contender. 125 needs any contender they can get their hands on, because that's a weight class historically that's fought to even survive. Dana's fought to get rid of it for many years, so they need contenders. They need future superstars, and he looks like a good one.
But his hands are crisp, bro. And takedown defense is serious as well. 23 years of age.
He's young as well. You could eventually end up going up in weight. If you're that young, you know, eventually he's going to put on some size, and you're going to think.
Yeah, but I think this time next year, he could be top 5, because he's going into the top 15 after that win. Top 5, number 1 contender fight, possibly. Because at 125, you can go and get title shots reasonably quick if you go on a nice little run. And especially, he battered Bruno Silva, bro. Dropped him loads of times, and then he managed to get the finish, which was important. So big up him. That was a great performance. Asmat Mirzakhanov, his only problem...
You know, when the fight, I didn't think he was going to win, you know, at the start. I just thought he looks a bit, you know, he was getting clipped a bit. But that is a serious operator, you know.
Bro, serious dude. And the only problem with him is his inactivity. But he was scheduled to fight Johnny Walker. So
Johnny Walker's lucky he didn't run for him. Who's Johnny Walker fighting now?
Well, they might rebook it, innit?
Yes.
So
Johnny Walker.
but yeah, no, Murzakanov's a real player at 205. I just don't want him to get like a Dom Reyes or something, because he might do Dom Reyes dirty. I'll be honest. His name's the Professional, bro.
Yeah, but he's a southpaw as well.
Yeah,
Reyes southpaw. Interesting.
But he's a real player. Bredson Ribeiro, he came in on short notice, done what he could, but
Ribeiro looked alright at the start. If anything, he was landing more, and then he just came.
Spivak against Waldo Cortez Acosta. That was a close fight. People are saying that Spivak should have got the nod. Acosta's he plays possum quite a bit though. Every time he gets clipped and he's just like all of that. But he's got hands and he had really good takedown defense yesterday. Spivak is a very solid grappler, the polar bear. So whenever he gets his hands together, you could go for a ride. But he done pretty well. He done enough for the win. And then Chaos Williams against Andreas Gustafsson, who Gustafsson came on short notice, and oh my god, he big broed KO Williams, bro. From the first minute to the last, swinging punches, didn't care, get in the clinch, smash you up. That was a proper, you know what? It's almost like when you're a fighter, I feel like people can get knocked out, or you can make a technical mistake and get choked out, right? But to get beat up from pillar to post from minute 1 to minute 15 to that extent, like, you're my son. It's almost like, you're my son, you're my little bro. Everyone in the arena and everyone watching is going to see me just beat you up. Do you know what I'm saying? That one was peak, bro. I'm trying to think, what's the worst, like, real beatings that we've ever seen?
In the UFC? Like a beating?
Like 25 minutes or 15 minutes were like...
Yeah, Barboza, Khabib. That was a battering.
Max Holloway, KR.
Yeah.
But that was mainly on the feet. I feel like the ground and pound ones, they're dirty. The ground and pound one, like you said, the Khabib ones where it's like...
There was even one year that people don't really talk about, but it was Khalil. I always forget the guy's name. It's the Moldovan guy. He's a bit crazy. And
Kutulaba.
Yeah, Kutulaba. You remember what he did to Khalil, bro? He beat the hell out of him, bro. Took him down and just spanked him.
To be fair, that in recent memory, I know it was just the back end of the second round into the third, but Paddy was beating up on Chandler, boy. Like that one was. But even going back to Volkanovski, like Volkanovski through that run, he was against CIA,
yeah, exactly.
bro.
CIA's face at the end,
bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Frankie Edgar versus Yaya as well.
Oh, Gaethje against Ferguson.
Remember Frankie Edgar versus Yaya Rodriguez? We did to him. CIA's eye at the end of that fight.
Gaethje against Ferguson. Yeah. So there's been a lot, but that one was
that ended Ferguson's career. You know that fight.
Yeah, it did change his life.
Ended his career.
Changed his life for real. We need to talk about John Jones, Tom Aspinall. I know we've done this loads of times, but Dana White said Jones has agreed to the fight. But then all these cryptic tweets, like, where's Dana at? He wasn't here throughout the fight week. He just spawned in with Donald Trump, and like his voice is flipping broke as well. I don't know what he's been doing.
Saying his heart's not in it no more, like. But
he's going to like sponsors and that. Wake up and smell the coffee. This Tom Aspinall, John. Do you know this is feeling like, you know, when we were used to talk about the Chandler McGregor fight. This is fully feeling like this, bro.
This is worse because you've got two guys who are actually elite. McGregor's washed up, and Chandler's washed up as well. So it's not as big. Aspinall and John Jones are in their primes. So
No. John Jones not in his prime.
For me, it's still John Jones though. Okay, he's not the prime, but it's still John Jones, bro. Look what he did to Cyril Gane. People downplay Cyril Gane like he's some scrub. He's not a scrub.
No.
Cyril Gane's not a scrub.
You see, he's you know,
training partner.
No. You know, Cyril Gane didn't want to fight Aspinall because he was shooting a movie. The movie's out on Netflix. I need to watch it.
Yeah, I need to watch that as well,
bro. Apparently, he's just like this dude, like, and he's on some Jason Statham shit, like. Just moving mad. But anyway,
in French.
Yeah.
Fair play.
In the streets of Marseille and that. He's just moving mad. But what was I going to say? Yeah, no, Cyril Gane's not a scrub. But John Jones not in his prime anymore.
I still think Jones is still that guy. I know, okay, he's not. He's still that guy, man. He's still that guy.
I'm skeptical now. I don't think they fight. I think John Jones drags this out, and then guess what?
He's talking about fighting Ngannou. Dana was asked a question as well, in the post-fight.
Yeah, he was
press
like, nah.
conference. He's like, nah. But I think Dana bringing back Ngannou is not a bad thing, you know, or like a 2-fight deal. It's not a bad thing because Jones and Aspinall, let's say they fight.
Aspinall right now.
You can make Ngannou fight the winner.
Aspinall right now would beat Ngannou.
Or you can do Ngannou versus Aspinall because Jones is holding out for the interim. And let's say Ngannou wins, Jones will fight Ngannou. Do you know what I mean? So you just want to keep the division moving. And I just want to see Aspinall get paid and fight a big name. So
I take that leap.
Exactly. Ngannou will do that for him. And I think he beats Ngannou as well. You're right.
Someone was saying that, you know how the UFC are like negotiating a new deal with ESPN or Netflix, or it could be whoever.
Yeah, I read that as well.
That they want the two biggest stars in the game.
They want to basically go to them.
They want to guarantee that they're going to fight.
Yeah, they want to basically go to whoever they're going to go to secure the deal, whatever broadband it is, whatever it is, and say the first fight we'll do on your network is Jones versus Aspinall. That way they'll
they want McGregor to fight again, and they want Jones to fight.
But if they promote it as Jones Aspinall will be your first pay-per-view or the first fight on your platform, they're gonna fucking sign them up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got a whole juice.
Exactly, bro.
But I don't know. I'm just skeptical at this point. I'll be honest. Like I don't know if it happens or not. But next week is a real big one for the 170. It's a real big one, and we've spoken about it a little bit. And you're leaning towards Usman, right?
With Buckley Usman?
Yeah.
I can't lie. Yeah, I am. 5 rounds, 170. Usman's last fight was Chimaev. He didn't look too bad. A heavier weight class on short notice. People are forgetting who Usman is. When was the last time Usman got finished?
Edwards.
Yeah, fair play. It was Edwards. But after that, Edwards' fight, he looked better in rematch. He still lost. The trilogy, he still lost. But before that Edwards fight, he hadn't been finished in a long time. Chimaev couldn't finish him. So Buckley needs to go into this fight and really game plan hard, because you're not fighting someone you're fighting a different kettle of fish here, different caliber fighter. And I think the reason why Usman will win, I think Buckley will take him lightly.
No.
I think Buckley will take him lightly, thinking Usman's finished.
Do you know?
He's 38, 39.
Do you know what, Mo? I think that's the complete opposite of what I think is gonna happen, bro. Bar for bar, I think. You
think Buckley's gonna knock out Usman?
I think there's a good chance, yeah.
Bro, come on, man. I don't think he knows.
No. Hear me out. You said you think Buckley's not gonna take Usman.
I don't think he's taking
Buckley is on the cusp of a title shot, and
I think
if you follow him on Gram and you follow him on all of that, he knows how close he wants to change his life, bro. He's talking about, I'm still broke. I've fought all these fights and stuff. I ain't really changed my life like that. He's probably the hungriest 170-pounder, bro. So for you to think he's gonna take Usman lightly, Usman's a mad name. He's been asking for that fight for time. Yeah. I think that's out the window. He's gonna take Usman very seriously. It's just about skill-wise. That's the question, right? Because you're saying,
can he stop the takedown?
Can he stop the takedown? But not only that, like you just look back at like when Buckley first got to the UFC and he got knocked out by Kevin Holland and stuff. Like these are things that really happen. He turned the corner, obviously. He dropped down in weight, but it's like Usman's a different, like you said, he's a different kettle of fish. But I do feel like Buckley, I don't know what it is, but the momentum that he's got and the blitz, he has the utmost confidence that he's gonna land a smack. And I honestly feel like he's gonna land a serious one on Usman's chin. I think I honestly, do you know what? I want to find out.
Usman's chin's underrated. You
know? No, of course.
It's that one Edwards knockout where people think he has a bad chin, but
no, to be fair, like
one of those shots.
Kobe rocked him a few times. You know, like if you rewatch those fights,
he still, he still walked it. He still ate that, bro. He ate that and come on at the end of those fights and ended up winning. So
if Islam is fighting JDM and Gary's fighting Bilal, does the winner of this fight Sean Brady?
Yeah, that's if Sean Brady isn't waiting up for a title shot. And the thing is, does Sean Brady want to take a risky fight before a title fight that is pretty much guaranteed?
The thing is, they won't.
The thing with welterweight,
the welterweight belt's not going to be on the line till the end of the year. So your best.
But then you've got the winner of Ian Gary Bilal that won a title shot as well.
I think if Gary wins, maybe.
But even Bilal, he's gonna say, "Okay, I just beat Ian Gary.
No.
I deserve a shot."
Nah, and especially you got to think how much Bilal had to do to get the title shot. They're happy he's not champion anymore.
But Bilal didn't get destroyed in that title fight, even though he lost. It was still a good fight.
Doesn't matter.
Do you know what I mean?
I think he needs 2 wins.
But if he beats finishes Ian
Gary, now we're talking. It's almost like a Grand Prix, and people need to finish each other. Yeah. Sean Brady made a real statement because he finished Edwards, right? If he would have won by decision, it would be like, solid win. He went to the O2 and he won in London and whatnot on short notice. But people need to start finishing fights now. You know what I'm saying? So if Sean Brady fights a Buckley, right, or Usman, see Sean Brady v Usman, I don't know what that would look like, you know, because they would cancel each other on the wrestling. High key.
Yeah.
So then it would be a stand up.
It'd be a stand up, and yeah, that would be an interesting fight.
That would be an interesting.
It'd be like Colby and Usman
almost.
Part 2.
Yeah.
But does Sean Brady have that sort of conditioning and heart?
100.
Last 5 rounds.
Yeah. No, I.
Colby and Usman, that was just a battle of hearts.
Yeah, but they hated each other. That had extra juice. Yeah. That had extra juice.
In those fights where you've got a guy that you can't take down and they can't take you down, it comes down to heart and pressure and pace. Can you last for 5 rounds? And then you've got Shavkat as well when he comes back after injury. Who the hell does he fight? Do you know what I mean? It's just, there's too many names at 170. You could even say the winner of Buckley Usman fights Shavkat.
Bro, we're not even talking about Shavkat, yeah. Exactly. What the hell is Shavkat?
We've
already spoken about this, but it's like...
Yeah, but...
I think it does...
You gave the option of the winner fight and Sean Brady, but Shavkat could fight the winner. Shavkat could even fight Sean Brady. Do you know what I mean? So you've got a few options at welterweight. It's a bit of a nightmare for the matchmakers, but it's something that you want. You know, you compare it to other weight classes where you don't have many contenders. You don't have, you've got the same faces again and again. This is a problem. It's a good problem to have. Do you know what I mean?
It depends on Shavkat's injury. It depends on the result next week.
Shavkat for sure needs one more win to get a title shot.
You think so? I said if Islam...
I think because of the nature of this injury, I don't think you want to go into a title fight when you're not 100%. I think he needs to test the knee against a top contender, then fight for the belt.
You think he needs that, or do you think he'll get that?
I think he needs it.
But I'm just saying, if Islam wins the belt, you're telling me they would miss the opportunity of making Islam against Shavkat? I don't think they would.
But then, has the fight been announced yet? Madalena Islam in terms of a date, any rumored dates?
End of the year. It'll be somewhere.
So Shavkat, then how long would it be since his last fight, last fought?
It would be a year and a bit.
And then if they do fight at the end of the year, it could be a war. Him, Madalena, and Makhachev. It could be a war. You know.
He probably does need a scrap.
He needs a scrap just in between, just to test the knee out.
So if I'm Sean Brady,
you don't want your first fight after a year and a bit, after a serious knee injury, to be against Makhachev or even Madalena, who's a problem himself. So he needs a win.
Why doesn't Gary ask for that rematch then?
Yeah. But I think Ian Gary has enough on his hands against Bilal. I think Bilal is a tough fight.
I don't think Ian Gary would finish Bilal though.
Yeah, it's a tough fight, Bilal. Bilal's no joke,
Bro, that's why JDM actually put on flipping good.
Bro, it's like that's JDM. That's probably one of his toughest fights. Like he could get at welterweight.
And he passed.
Honestly, it's a tough fight, and if he can get through that Bilal Muhammad test, then he's
but Bilal fought into his hands though, like.
Yeah, but then again, JDM did show good takedown defense as well.
No, he did. Yeah.
Maybe Bilal wasn't as relentless as he usually is, but JDM's takedown defense is that good.
I'm just checking the rest of the card though. Rose is on it. Rose Namajunas against Miranda Maverick.
What card is this?
Next week's the Kamaru against Buckley. Edmund Shabazian, Cody Garbrandt's on it against Barcelos. He's coming off the win against Talbot.
They do this, for the fight night. Sometimes they stack them up.
Yeah, this is a crowd one though.
It's not Apex.
Menefield against Umar C.
Shabazian's been around for so long,
Yeah.
That
He
guy's
started
been
mad
around
young.
for years.
Yeah, he was starting mad young.
Yeah.
Chris Moutinho's back in the
Yeah, they
UFC.
fought him
Paul
back.
Craig.
Paul Craig's
fighting.
middleweight or
Light heavyweight. He's back to against Rodolfo Bellato. Ricky Simone. So no, that's not a bad little card. But then the week after is the Azerbaijan card as well. So we got two
This is the main event.
Hill Roundtree
Yeah. You had Fizayev, who's from Azerbaijan.
against Bahamundes.
Doesn't make any. Why is he not the main event? He should be the main event. He's from there. I don't know why.
Yeah, but that's not a big enough fight for a main event, bro. That's an arena main event.
Yeah.
The winner of Hill against Roundtree, especially if it's Roundtree, is back in the mix. Because he gave Pereira a decent fight. I know he got finished. And
Who do you
Pereira's
think
not
wins
even
that? Who do you think wins that? Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree.
Hill's coming off. So Hill got
Hill's
knocked out
coming
by
off
Prohaska. no?
Bad loss against Yeri.
Mm.
Khalil hasn't fought since the Pereira fight. He hasn't fought.
No. But his face got busted.
He looked
But
alright,
this was meant to happen earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Khalil with those. Yeah. Khalil, what do you think about that? You think he's a juice head?
Who?
Khalil.
No.
Was it not drug? Was it not a drug issue? Him getting the reason why.
Oh, was it?
It was a drug issue.
Was it actually?
It was PEDs, bro.
Did he actually got
That's what I'm
he
thinking.
got
How's he not
popped?
fought? How's he not fought since the Pereira fight? I remember it was a PED thing, but then I think he proved his innocence or something.
Khalil
like
suspended for self-reported positive drug test.
that. Yeah, he reported himself or something.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
For 5'8" andro. So what's that? Like,
whatever that is, but then because he self-reported it, does that then mean they go easy on him with the suspension?
yeah.
But I mean,
Wait, self-reporting of failed drug test means Pereira title fight will go ahead as planned. So because he self-reported it, his length for suspension. So this was prior to the Pereira fight.
it's prior.
4.5 month suspension, which will expire prior to his showdown with Alex Pereira.
Okay.
Damn, I
But what do you
forgot
think?
about
What do you think about that though?
that. Yeah, that's weird. That's like very little time, right? That's I don't know. Who do you think wins though? Quick.
Khalil and
Yeah.
Jamal Hill. Yeah, I think Jamal Hill gets it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Khalil, for me, there will always be that gap between him and the elites. Even though he looked all right against Pereira.
Yeah, I was about to say. His game plan against Pereira was solid.
But then, come on, when Pereira came on strong, he sort of crumbled.
Yeah, but
So,
he could have. Pereira
Yeah,
had that
But
Sharma
then
energy.
Jamal Hill can crack as well.
Yeah.
He needs to be careful.
But like you said, the co-main event, I feel like Fazeev he's been dealt a hard hand. Like he fought Gaethje at the O2 UFC 286.
But that Gaethje rematch made no sense anyway. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but it was short notice. Someone had to fight him. But I think Bahamundes is good, but I don't think he's elite. But I could be wrong. The reason why he beat Jalen Turner the way that he did is because Turner was already
Yeah,
thinking
one-
about
one foot
retiring.
out the door, yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like Fazeev gets back on a horse and wins that. And the rest of the card, there's loads of like mad names. There's probably guys that we'll find out that are serious. And then the next pay-per-view, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a serious one. Can't wait. Topuria Charles, that'll be the next one. So that is it for today's episode. Like I said, watch out for the clips of this episode. They will be on TikTok and Instagram at PunchesandPundits. And yeah, that's it for today. See you lot soon.